You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Cricket Podcast. This is our third go through the intro. It's not gone well so far. It's a special episode today. Today we're joined by a man with 100 international wickets, a star of the recent T20 World Cup. Move over Jack Leach. There's a new Colt left arm spinner in town. Mark Watt, how are you doing?
I'm very good. Thank you very much for that introduction again.
Brilliant. So first things first, Mark, did you enjoy the World Cup?
Yes, what an experience. It was so stage, those three games are pretty nervous. After we got through that, I was just enjoying every moment. It was brilliant.
Your bowling performances across the tournament, as somebody who was watching and learning about a new team, really captured my imagination, Mark, as did the sort of wider performance of the Scottish team. How did it feel for you and the boys to go out there and demonstrate to the world that you're a great bowler and that Scotland can fight at the top table in T20?
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, the past 2 years, we've just been watching cricket frustratingly from home during COVID. All our games have been cancelled and we've just been training up to this one point. So we've just been training so hard and wanting to take the opportunity when we get to the big stage. We feel like we played nowhere near our best, which is quite exciting because we got quite far in the tournament. But it's exciting because we've got Australia coming up next year and we can start preparing for that and know that we've not played at our best cricket and we've still managed to beat Bangladesh and got through into that into the Super 12s.
Awesome, yeah. Awesome.
And on a personal level as well, I mean, you started the tournament with an impressive run of consistency, with managing to was it 1 for 23 3 times in a row. I think that was a first, wasn't it, in international cricket? So a nice niche stat for you there. But I mean, you would have come up against some of the great players in the tournament. And were there any in particular that you found particularly good or particularly difficult to bowl to?
I think the main one was Shoaib Malik again, and Barbara Azam as well. Like, it was just ridiculous. Anything was too full, he just slotted you for six. And he's such a good batsman, but when you're watching him bat, it's not like, oh, he's doing something amazing. He's just doing everything, all the basics so well, and just hits the ball so clean. And you can just tell how much hours he's put into practice. It's just frustrating to play against because you bowl the ball in the middle stump and he goes to flick it off his leg. You're like, oh, if he misses this, it's out. But you just know he's not going to miss it. It's pretty frustrating. And Shoaib Malik, if you don't hit the Yorker line, it's off for six out of the park. So, but no, that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. Is like you got to test yourself against the best, and it's kind of a bit of an eye opener now. Of like, okay, this is the level I need to get to. This is where I need to go. These are things I need to do now.
Yeah. One of the things that sort of you stood out for in the tournament was, I guess, your technique when it came to bowling. You bowled some deliveries like right up to the stumps, some from really wide, some from where the umpire is, some fast, some slow. As a fellow spinner, I want to get inside your head here, and I want to know what's your decision making process when it comes in when you're coming into bowl and you're using these different variations.
All depends about like the game scenario. If we need wickets, if we need to save runs, if they need 12 and over, you can't go for any boundaries. So it's pretty much that. But if we bowl first and they're going on quite nice, I'll just change it up and just not let them. As a spinner, if you put three balls in the same place, the batsmen know it's going to be their next ball. He's going to try and hit you the park. So I just try and vary up different things and just keep them guessing. Really, I mean, with a 24-yard, it's quite cheeky because I'll bowl it if I see the batsman looking down at his feet. So it's not very.
So it's like a shithouse move, basically.
So if he's looking down at his toes, not ready, then sometimes I'm not even ready, but I'm just like, fuck it, and just throw it up there. Because mainly he just looks up and the ball's halfway through there and just kind of pats it back. So you need to try that one in the nets and let me know how you get on.
That dot ball for me, Dick.
Yeah, that'll be the one that goes onto the nets when I'm bowling.
In T20, if that gets me one dot ball, then I'm going to keep bowling it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, those sorts of variations. Obviously, you don't see many people bowling from 25 yards. Are they things that you've developed yourself, or is that sort of something you've discussed with other people? Or?
Yeah, it was a bit worrying because when I do it in the nets, all the Scotland boys just try and send it to the fucking moon. So it's quite intimidating bowling it to, you know, the best batters in the world. But you know what people are like in nets, they'll just try and hit all the spinners to the moon. So I don't take it too personally. But no, if I keep doing it in games, it seems to be working. So I've tried it at like club cricket level, and then I'd try it in a regional level against the Scotland players, and then try it probably at associate level against other associate teams, and then take it into, you know, if it keeps working through the stages, then why not keep doing it?
Well, hopefully there's a few more tricks up your sleeve that we're yet to see. I mean, you've gone basically from playing hardly any cricket at all recently up to the World Cup, and then sharing the field with guys like you know, I mean, obviously you've mentioned some of the names already, but you know, some of the big names on campus, Kohli, Williamson, Ashwin, and that kind of character. I mean, what's it like sharing the field with those sorts of guys?
Mate, it's bizarre. It is honestly bizarre. Like, everyone will play it cool, be like, oh yeah, you know, we belong to be there. See, when you're like stood up doing the national anthems and you just look across and it's like Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Bumrah, you're like, this is actually mental. Like, when I was batting against India and Ashwin was bowling at me, I was like, I was batting it. I looked up and Ashwin was running in, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, Ashwin is running in, bowling at me in a World Cup. Like, this is bizarre. And he bowled like a carom ball first up, picked it. I like walked down and spoke to Callum McLeod at the other end. I was like, this is mental. Like, this is just mental. And he was like, right, fucking come on, get your head on. Like, we've got a game to try. Yeah. But no, it was so much fun. I'm so glad that I enjoyed it and didn't like get too nervous about the occasion, because it's something that I always remember. It's great.
Yeah,
did you get? Also, Jack.
I would probably say the same thing here, I reckon, Ross. Aren't we? Do you get much of an opportunity to talk to them after the game, or through the tournament?
Yeah, they're really good. It was Kohli's birthday actually, so they wanted us to wait like 20 minutes. They did some birthday celebration for him, and then they invited us all in. I got to speak to Ashwin for about 30 minutes, just about bowling spin and how to get better, and you know, what stuff worked for him and what stuff doesn't work, and how he goes about playing in the IPL. And just the amount of analysis work that he does is crazy. So, for example, I was batting against him, and my head's going a million miles an hour. So I was like, he's running to ball. I was like, fuck it, reverse swept him, clothed it for two, and then next ball ran down the track and he pushed it wide, Pant missed the stumping. And then after the game, he was like, do you know every single time you reverse sweep, you always run down the wicket next ball? And I was like, how the fuck do you know that about me? Like, I don't even know that about me. But he was like, I've done so much analysis work on all your batters. You know, this is what I've figured out. And I was just like, wow, like that's the level you need to get to. So he said it took like 4 or 5 times for him to work out how to bowl to Maxwell. And he's the different level.
I saw you got a nice little picture with Kane and Williamson. If I was you, the kind of little and large combo that you're going on, that'd be going straight on my Tinder profile. That.
I don't think that would work too well in Scotland, though. Nobody's going to know who Kane was.
Who's that?
No chance. If it was Cristiano Ronaldo, I would have been, I'd be in, but nah, not Kane Williamson.
Oh, I love it. If we look at the great moments in the Scottish team's campaign, obviously got beating Bangladesh, as you mentioned, then seeding qualification style versus Oman. What stood out for you as the moment you could take away something and kind of look back on with a lot of pride?
I think, being 50 for 6 in like the 12th over against Bangladesh and end up winning that game actually quite convincingly is something that this team will take massive strides in. Just the fact that no matter like what the score is, we'll just keep going and not just try and pat it back and get to 100 and stay in the game. We need to, I spoke to Grebo at the time. I was like, we need to try and get to a competitive score here, because there's no point in just patting it back, getting to 110, because they'll just piss it. So we spoke about like we'd rather get absolutely hammered by teams going for it instead of just trying to be in the competition. We're there to win games. It's a World Cup. So yeah, definitely that game, and just the way we just kept going the whole tail all the way down, and then came out and bowled our arses off and got a nice win against Bangladesh. That was definitely the and just kick-started the whole campaign. It gives that pressure. If you lose the first game, then you're kind of fighting the whole way back, and it's so pressurized. So yeah, definitely that one.
It was great to watch. It was really good.
Did you, going into the tournament, think, like, honestly here, did you think you'd make the Super 12s, or was that,
I think
pie in the sky?
When we saw our group table, we were like, right, we are massively in here. And we saw the other group table, Sri Lanka, Holland, Ireland, Namibia, and you're like, oh, that's a horrible group. So we saw ours and we're like, right, we are right in here. Still good teams. Oman at home are a very good side. But no, we knew that was like a massive opportunity, because we qualified for the next year World Cup, which is absolutely massive, and we just didn't want to miss that opportunity and go through another horrible qualifying process. So yeah, we knew the pressure was on, and we were kind of favourites to go through. But to top the table was just so special.
Absolutely. We talked about some of the players you played with. You had an opportunity to face against Afghanistan, and you had Mujib and Rashid kind of play there. Those two guys are kind of elite level spinners, right? And I mean, you talked about Ashwin. You also had to face the pacers in like Bumrah. Which one did you find more intimidating, or was it all kind of like the way in which you described speaking against Ashwin was almost like you had a VR headset on and you were playing like Brian Lara cricket kind
down
of thing.
sixes?
That was literally the thing, because it was the first game in Super 12s the Afghan, and I faced Rashid Khan and Mujib, and I was like, this is class, and I was so like desperate to get a boundary away or play a good shot and get it straight up on Instagram, but I couldn't put up a single to deep point off Rashid Khan. I couldn't put that on Insta. And then Mujib bowled my first ball, so it didn't really work too well.
So you picked Ashwin's Karen ball. Did you pick any of them, or?
Well, that was the first ball I faced off Mujib. Karen ball bowled me, but I've picked Ashwin's, so Mujib needs to have a wee chat with him, I think. I spoke to Mujib after the game, and honestly, it's just ridiculous. I was like, so how'd you bowl Karen ball? Like, come on, tell me. I need help. And he said, show me your middle finger. I showed him. He's like, it's not strong enough. You need to strengthen your finger by like with tennis balls. Just keep gripping tennis balls and flicking them.
Oh, not just flip a few more people off.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say something else there. So I've been honestly in the tennis, and yeah, I've just been like in quarantine, just with the cricket ball, just flicking it out, trying to get it ready. So hopefully by Australia, I'll have another trick up my sleeve, but it's going to need plenty of practice.
Mark, it looks to us from afar, so there's a really good team spirit among the Scottish side. Stepping away from the field here and going behind the scenes, if you'll let us, can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to go away with the boys and represent your country at a World Cup?
Mate, there's nothing better. It's so much fun. The only thing that's been pretty tough is bubble life. This is kind of our first long stint of being in a bubble, but I'm surprised at how well we've actually got on. I thought people would be at each other's throats after 3 or 4 days, but I think we had 60 days, I think it was, together, and everyone was just so good. People obviously need a bit of space. People are away from their family and kids and stuff, and kind of just stuck between the four walls. But I think everyone just kind of helped each other get through that. And yeah, honestly, it's also terrorizing how much like pranks and stuff go on. It's terrifying. So, for example, we were rooming with each other for the first 2 weeks of the trip. I was with a guy called Chris Greaves, and any time I walked into our room, he was hiding somewhere, barking, waiting for me to come in. So that
is that because he was so used to it being Amazon delivery driver that you just wanted a bit that the dogs that would treat him back home?
I think it is, yeah. Or that he's South African and he's running away from dogs in South Africa. It's scary how good he is. But no, he was like hiding behind the door waiting for me to come in, and I was away for like 25 minutes. So fair play when he puts that much effort into it. Yeah, he deserves it. But yeah, it's so much fun, and we all have a good laugh. Good.
What's the hotel setup like? So is it kind of like a hotel next to the airport or next to like a bus station, or are you in like a bit of a 5-star hotel? You got a pool, you got like, I don't know, some like driving range or something?
We have been in some of the best hotels. It's quality. So it's amazing, like when you're away with associate teams and the hotels you stay at then, and then when you're at a World Cup with the big guns with India and Australia, how amazing the hotels start to get. So yeah, we've definitely been been treated well by the ICC for this year's World Cup. The hotel's been quality. I think we've had in Oman, we're on jet skis every day, you know, snorkeling and reefs, and it was brilliant. So yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a shock going back to Scotland in 2 weeks' time.
See, the England team is scared to do a football warm-up, and there's the Scottish team going jet skiing.
Our football games get proper heated as well. We've got oldies versus youngies, and it gets heated.
Who's the top player?
Well,
He's got to say himself. He's got to say himself, surely.
Now we've got a few good players actually. Dylan Budge, good player. Bit greedy, but good player. Callum McLeod thinks he's amazing, but he's not. He thinks he's like a prime Paul Scholes, but he's just not. Hamza Tahir is one of the worst. He thinks he is Carlos Tevez for some reason. That's why his shirt number is 32. There's a wee secret for you, but he is definitely not Carlos Tevez.
I don't get many people dreaming of being Carlos Tevez. That's an interesting one.
And Matthew Cross keeps telling everyone that he was on the under-15s Aberdeen goalkeeping setup, which is it's probably true, to be fair, but he's still rubbish. And now Richie Barrington and Safi are very good as well.
I'm pretty sure there's a joke about Scottish goalkeepers, isn't there? You know, south of the border thing, maybe.
Is there?
Yeah. We've got low opinions, generally speaking. I don't know where that comes from.
We've got a good one at the moment, though. We've got Craigie Gordon. He's a good keeper, so he's been.
Is he still going, Craig Gordon?
Big game tonight, actually. Big game against Denmark tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting. As a little tangent here, is the Scottish performance at this Cricket World Cup the greatest performance by a Scottish sporting team in say our lifetimes?
I think if we
get to find out about the hubris of.
I don't think it is. No, I think if we caused a few more upsets, maybe got one over Pakistan or India, then potentially and knocked over Namibia. But the fact that we didn't win a game in the Super 12s, I can't say that is the best Scottish World Cup campaign. So, I'll leave it to someone else.
Looking forward for this Scottish team, you've sealed qualification. So to the 2022 World Cup in Australia. I mean, that could be the tournament that you do eclipse all Scottish history on that one. What are you expecting from that? And have you already started planning for that? Is the team already preparing for that?
Yeah, I think it'll be everyone's in the back of everyone's heads. You know, going home and getting ready to prep for that. You know, people will be doing a lot of self-evaluation after this year's World Cup and knowing what the bar is after playing such good teams and what they need to do to get better. What can I expect in Australia? Probably to go for a lot more runs than I did in the UAE. That's definitely for sure. But I'm just hoping it'll be crowds in Australia because I'm pretty sure COVID's still pretty bad over there, and hopefully bubble life isn't still a thing then. But yeah, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, right? Because I mean, like, the type of bowler that you are, that, as you say, variations all the time. I saw on Jared Kimber's one, he was comparing you to Michael Yardy before. I mean, even Benny Howes does really well over in Australia in the Big Bash, right? So there is that opportunity to kind of do really well out there. So all the best for that. I think bowling in Australia.
It's always great when you've got so many people watching. Like, you just need that. You need that stage and just being ready to perform. That's why I was so happy that this kind of went well, and now I've got this T10 on the back of it. You just need an opportunity. That's what I've been so frustrated about the past 2 years. You know, that we've been watching these T20 franchises and seeing players playing in that when you know, we're like, oh, we've got players back home in Scotland that can be as good as them, if not better, just not getting the opportunity to show themselves. So yeah, it's been good.
Is that the next step, you think, for for Scotland, but maybe more generally, like some of the other associate nations, just more opportunities to show yourself like you have done in this World Cup?
Yeah, definitely. You just need more games against better opposition. And we spoke to the Indian batters about how they face Bumrah and Shami and all that, and Shaheen. And they're like, oh, it's absolutely shocking. Like, we hate facing them. It's so hard in nets. We don't like it. They're so competitive. And they're like, we don't know how, like, it must be so hard for the associate teams to come in and play them a once off when you've never played them before. because they're so awkward and they're so talented. It just makes it hard. So, you know, the more times we play the likes of Rashid Khan and Mujib, and we're only going to get better against them. So yeah, hopefully we get more games against the big teams.
Boomer seems like a stone cold killer when he's there. It looks like he'd play garden cricket and just come back at, got 15 wickets, mum. I did a great job.
Yeah,
but unbelievable.
I was so far alongside at square leg, I was almost touching umpire when I was facing him.
So you mentioned kind of T20 franchises a little bit there. So, I mean, and the drafts, they are never far away. And we all know that they love a bit of recency bias. So, I mean, your stock has risen. Are you going to put your Thistle cap into the ring for the IPL mega auction?
I'll put my hat into every single ring. Whether or not I'll get picked up, that's another thing. So don't worry about that. But yeah, it's just hopefully I can just keep doing well. And the main priority is just doing well for Scotland. And that's what I'm really, really passionate about, and trying to get Scotland moving forward in the right way. And I think our team over the past 5-6 years has done that incredibly well. So that's the main goal at the moment in time. So.
Right now, you linked up with the Northern Warriors for the T10. That's obviously exciting. It's sort of what we're talking about here. Is there anything you'll be doing differently in that format, or I mean, generally speaking, what are you looking forward to in the next couple of weeks?
I don't know. I think it's just mainly speaking to the guys that have played this before and what you need to do as a spinner, because you've not got 4 overs to bowl. It's 12 balls of trying not to go for as many as you can, not so much like picking up wickets. So I've got really good spinners in my team, so I think I might be chucking on the bib for a while. So hopefully I can get a game. But even just being here for 2 weeks speaking to these spinners, it'll be massive for me, and hopefully just bowling against the batters that we've got in the nets will definitely improve me. And just speaking to coaches and just trying to pick the brains of all the quality players around me, I'll definitely come back a better player.
Yeah, we're going to see so many more spinners now after speaking to you, doing the batsman looking at their feet and the guys throwing the ball at him, and there'll be I'm looking forward to seeing more of that and it kicking off in the middle big time.
Yeah, I think somebody's going to have a proper go at me sometime soon. It is pretty bad. Even umpires are saying, because umpires normally look down and then look up and the ball's halfway through. So they keep saying to me, you need to give me a warning if you're going to do that. And I'm like, I don't even know when I'm going to do it, so I can't give you a warning. But no, I'm going to try. I'll try some funky stuff in the net. So in the next couple of days, and try and get a game, and see how it goes.
Nice. So I think we're probably reaching the end of our planned questions. I think we've got a couple that came in from sort of Twitter and Patreon that we'll ask you. But before we get to those, because we'll be doing the same ourselves in a very short amount of time, was just to ask you who your player of the World Cup has been, and what your favourite moment of the World Cup has been from an inside perspective.
My player of the World Cup has probably been Adam Zampa. I think he's been so good. Can't believe David Warner, he's a batter. But I think Adam Zampa's done so well and picked up so many key wickets in the right time and gone for hardly any runs. So I think Adam Zampa has been just been up there, just consistently performed every game.
Mm-hmm. Would you go for his mullet? Would you go for that look? Or?
I'm receding as it is. I'd be so bad with the mullet. I'd be shocking.
If you get successful enough, you could be, fronting hair transplants.
I don't want to be going down that route. Can't be giving me that. That's shocking, Jack.
I can just picture it now. You got Shane Warne, Mark Watt, brilliant. I think
Wayne Rooney.
Well, there's a vacancy opening up, isn't there?
You can't put me in the same bracket as Wazza. Come on.
We want people to come back onto this podcast, Max, and you've just done that.
Jesus.
We had one final question which came in from Patreon. And if you are a patron, we'll always ask you a question. Patreon.com/thecricketpod. Mark, this is from Swami, who asks, a lot of captains these days have become reluctant to give the ball to bowlers who stop bowlers to bring it in to a batter. So a left-handed bowler to a left-handed batter, for example, would be one of those. Do you think it's much of a factor to have a talented bowler not being basically, is this something that you work on? I think is the general crux of the question. It's about 4 more lines of it. But what's your setup, I suppose, when you're coming up against?
Just a lot of like these different matchups, isn't it? So, and in T20 now, there's always kind of a shorter side. And so if I'm bowling left down spin to left hand, he's going to try and plant me. So that's why I've been working so hard in the past 2 years of having a Yorker. It's such an underrated ball. I don't see why spinners can't bowl one. Because to have a ball that you're confident in bowling, knowing that it's either going to be a dot ball or go for a 1 in T20 is massive. So, I don't really look too much at the matchups. It's obviously a little bit frustrating if you look at the team the night before and they have 5 of the top 6 left-handed. But I'm trying to work on something that goes away from the left-hander. But it's pretty difficult. I've got a leggy, but it's a bit dodgy and I can't really land it every time. So I was really wanting to bring it out. But no, I was like, I'll keep it in my back pocket. And hopefully in a year's time it'll be ready and firing up against all the lefties.
Have you thought about a bouncer?
I've got one in my locker, but I just didn't think the pitches were that good for it. I reckon maybe in Australia, get in the gym and do a bit more shoulder pressing and get that bouncer flying through it.
That middle finger's going to come in so handy.
Yeah. Oh, God, you need to stop saying that. But no, in the UAE, I didn't think the bouncer was the best plan.
Yeah.
Swami also says that he really liked your World Cup kit. That was the best. I think we agreed, didn't we, that the Scottish kit was the top one.
Well, the Papua New Guinea one, which had everything on it. It was like that bit of like, who was doing like a shit shirt club night, and Papua New Guinea were just like, let's throw everything at this shirt and see what happens.
Yeah, I like the PNG one. What else do I like? I like the quite like the South Africa one. That was quite nice. The green, different shades of green, but the Scottish one was nice. We all picked it as a squad as well. So we had like a competition, sent out to all the children in Scotland to design our kit, and that came back. We came back with three of the top kits, and then we chose that one. So I think it was nice. a 13-year-old girl that picked a kit, but it's really nice. Yeah,
it's really good. Mark, congratulations on a great World Cup campaign. We're looking forward to seeing you again in Australia, if not before. Hopefully at the IPL. That's the dream, isn't it? To have a man on the inside from our point of view, but also for you, to play at the IPL.
The main point is me being on here, going to the IPL. That would be as the cricket podcast, like spy in the IPL.
That's like they have like the secret footballer, and it wasn't actually secret because everyone knew it was Dave Kitson. There was that bit, the secret IPL cricketer. That's what we want.
That's what I'll have a wee GoPro on my head throughout the whole tournament.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we'll get to speak to you again at some point in the future. Any final words from you before we wrap this up?
No, just thanks for having me on, and it was good fun, good bunch of lads, and all the best for the podcast in the future.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers very much.
Cheers.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.